Hey man, in this video, we are going to discuss all nutrition. Why nutrition is extremely important, regardless of the program you're following. If you're following any of my programs, any that we have on our website, then nutrition is going to be vital to your success. So that's one of the biggest things I want to focus on with this nutrition. And we're going to break it down a little bit. I'm not going to get too detailed, too scientific. I don't want to overcomplicate things. It's actually fairly simple. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start with a caloric deficit. All right. What is a caloric deficit? All right. Let's put this up here. Hopefully you can see it. Caloric deficit. All right. A caloric deficit basically is when your body requires a certain amount of calories to function at rest. All right, that's your basal metabolic rate. So a deficit is consuming less calories than what your body needs to maintain that. So that's pretty simple, pretty basic. That's the key to losing fat, which is the goal with all of these programs. It's not just about losing weight. That's why you'll notice throughout these programs that my focus is making sure that you aren't so consumed with the weight on the scale as much as you are the fat that you're losing. It's easy to lose water weight, also muscle, if you are dieting too extreme, if you're creating too large of a deficit. For instance, if your basal metabolic rate has you eating 2,500 calories a day to maintain your weight, all right, if that's what your basal metabolic rate is, that basically, once again, means you have to eat 2,500 calories every day to maintain your current weight. All right, if you don't eat that many, especially for a week, 2 weeks, then your body's going to actually start losing weight. Here's the goal, though. The goal is to make sure that weight that you're losing, the deficit that you're creating, is going to still allow you to maintain all your muscle mass and just focus on losing nothing but the fat. All right, so we're going to get down into a breakdown in a minute that's going to explain how to do that and what you should be focused on. But basically, at the end of the day, I want to make sure that you realize that for any of these to be successful, you need to create a caloric deficit. There's two ways to create a caloric deficit. Let's go back to the 2,500 calories at rest. That's your basal metabolic rate. And again, this is different for everybody. Everyone has a different BMR, your basal metabolic rate. It's going to depend on your height, weight, how much body fat you currently have, and how much lean body mass you actually have. So there's a lot of those things that go into it. So we're all different. We're all unique. We all have a different basal metabolic rate. But once you know what your BMR is, then there's two ways to create the deficit. One is by food. So again, let's say you need 2,500 calories to maintain. That's your BMR. All right, hopefully that doesn't all run together. 2,500. And we want to eliminate 500. Minus, let's take 500 calories. So basically, there's two ways to do that. You can take 500 calories from your food, cut 500 calories, and you're gonna start eating 2,000 calories every day. 2,000 calories every day is going to create a 500 calorie deficit. So when you do that over the course of a week, you're going to lose a pound. If you do it for 2 weeks, you're going to lose another pound. All right. And I'm just giving you estimated numbers here, but that's how you're going to lose the fat. The other way to do this, I said there's two ways to do it. The other way is, let's say you're going to continue to eat 2,500 calories, but you are going to work your butt off, work intense. You are going to create exercise expenditure, basically meaning when you go to the gym, you're going to burn 500 calories. If you burn 500 more calories than what your body's used to doing, then you're still going to be creating that 500 calorie deficit. You're consuming 2,500 calories in food, but your body is using that to maintain your status quo. Now you're burning 500 calories every day at the gym, so your body's only got 2,000 calories to maintain your weight. So you're creating a deficit that way, all right? So hopefully that makes sense. It's not too complicated, but basically what I want you to know is my programs, the way I do my programs, you are going to be eating in a deficit, and we're going to be ramping up the intensity. And there's progressions throughout all my programs. So you may start out by burning 200 calories every workout, and then it's going to go to 300 calories and 400 calories and 500 calories. So you're creating larger and larger deficits. So you're going to be constantly losing. You're going to be constantly losing fat. You're going to be losing weight, but majority of that weight's going to come from fat. And to make sure that happens, that's where we're going to get into the other aspect of nutrition. All right, so caloric deficit, hopefully I didn't run by that too quickly, but hopefully it makes sense. Again, not overly complicated, but at the end of the day, that's just total calories, 2,500 total calories. And now we're going to get into macronutrients. There's 3 different macronutrients. 3 macros. All right, 3 different macronutrients. First one, most important to you guys, is going to be protein, and then we're going to do carbohydrates. So let's shorten that to carbs, and then we're going to hit up fats. All right, so those are the 3 different macronutrients that you're going to be consuming your calories from. That's where it gets tricky. That's where you have to be strategic to make sure you're losing the right kind of weight. So this is where I structure all of my workouts based on the type of program you're following. If you're wanting to lose weight, you're doing a ripped after 40 program, then you're going to be in a larger caloric deficit, and you're going to be eating a little bit more carbs. You're going to be eating a little bit less carbs, excuse me. If you're doing my jacked after 40 program, and that's designed more to still lose some fat, but mostly build muscle. If your goal is to build muscle and that's your primary goal, then you're going to need more carbohydrates for that. All right, so let's get into what some of these are. These are the 3 macros: protein, carbs, and fats. If you heard me just a minute ago, I said this is going to be the most crucial, the most important protein. All of these are crucial, especially for us guys over 40. You want to focus on getting all of them. And basically the reason I said this is the most important is because it is your muscle building macronutrient. All right, it's extremely important for it repairs your cells. When you have cellular damage from working out, from aging, from doing all these things, it's going to help with the repair. Also, it's going to help reduce your appetite, reduce hunger. That's one of the biggest things. And protein is the building block. It's made up of a bunch of amino acids, but it's the building block of your actual muscle. So you need protein to grow. You need protein for your hair growth, for a lot of different things, for bones to be strong. So there's a lot of things that protein are going to provide benefits for. All right, so that's the main thing with protein. Let me get this out of the way. So protein is one of those things that also has the highest thermic effect of your feeding. What that means is 3 macronutrients, once again, protein, carbs, and fats. If you consume a meal and you're eating more protein, the protein is actually going to require your body to burn more calories to digest that protein, to break it down. That's the thermic effect of feeding. So of the 3 macronutrients, protein has the highest thermic effect of feeding. So the more protein you eat, guess what? The more fat you're going to be able to burn as well. So double benefits. Protein is going to help you build muscle. It's going to help you burn fat. So that's another one of the big benefits of protein. The thing to think about with protein is typically my programs, if you've read any of my programs, I always recommend 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's high compared to a lot of the scientific studies out there. A lot of those are done based on the average age guy, and they're done with sedentary men, sedentary women. If you're following my program, you're not being sedentary at all. If you're coming into my program and you've been sedentary, then the recommendation of 1 gram per pound is going to be new to you, and it's going to be an increase in protein. All right. For a lot of you guys that have been sedentary, you're not used to eating a lot of food. You're not used to eating a lot of meat, because that's what protein is. Protein, specifically animal protein, which is what we're going to talk about here in a minute. Protein is required to build muscle optimally, to keep those hormones up high, and again, keep the metabolism running. All of these things. There's a lot of important things that come with protein. So basically the 1 gram per pound, that's one of the questions I get. One of the issues I see with a lot of people is it's impossible to eat 1 gram per pound for me. All right. Yes, that's optimal for following my programs. And one misconception is people think, well, now that I'm older, my body doesn't need as much protein. It's actually opposite. When you're younger, your metabolism is different. Your hormones are high. You've got all these added benefits just because of your age. And you don't need as much protein. You still want more protein than the average sedentary person, but you don't need as much as you do when you get 40, 50, or 60, okay? So that's a misconception. You actually want more protein when you get older, not only to build more muscle, to maintain the muscle that you have. Because here's the other thing with muscle. Muscle, there's sarcopenia. As you get older, typically you get less active. You get less active, your body doesn't need all that excess muscle. It starts getting rid of it, breaking it down. All right, you start losing muscle as you get older. If you consume more protein, that's going to help you maintain some of that muscle. You're not going to lose a lot of it. So that's another one of the benefits with the protein. It's going to help offset sarcopenia. So that's one of the other huge benefits that I really want you to focus on when I'm telling you to eat a certain amount of protein. Here's the thing. If you can't get 1 gram per pound of body weight, some of you guys are really heavy. I get it. And 1 gram per pound when you're a 300-pound man needing to lose weight, that's 300 grams of protein. That's too much protein. I understand that, all right? If you're a 170-pound man, you've got 15, 20 pounds of fat you need to lose, 175 grams of protein is what you need to be getting. 200-pound man, get your 200 grams of protein. As you start getting up there in weight, because a lot of you guys do have a lot of weight to lose. It happens, it's part of aging. But here's the thing, if you 250, 275, 300 plus, man, and you don't really need to focus on making sure you're getting 1 gram per pound, because that's going to be a lot of food, okay? So my goal for you, my recommendation for you is 30 to 40 grams of protein with every meal. So preferably every 3 hours. If you can eat every 3 to 3.5 hours, shoot for at least 30 grams of protein. If you're doing that, you're going to have optimal protein in your body. It's going to make sure that you still have the optimal amount of protein synthesis going on. So that's the thing that you need to continue to build or maintain muscle, whatever your goal is. So focus on that number as opposed to the 1 gram per pound. But again, 200-pound man, there's guys that are 170 pounds that need to lose 35 to 40 pounds. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video. We're all different. We're all unique. We all have different body types. We all have different body fat percentages. So some men need to be 135, 140 pounds, all right? Because it's based on a lot of different things within each of our bodies. But wherever you're at in your journey, if you're 200 pounds or less, 1 gram per pound, if you start getting a little bit over that, then it's okay to just focus on that single number. So long-winded on the protein, but protein, again, is extremely important. All right, what are some of the best protein sources? Protein sources, you want to shoot for the lean protein sources. So when I say lean protein, I want to make sure that you understand we're shooting for lean meat, grass-fed beef, red meat preferably. And that's just a cleaner version of meat. It's a lot less fatty already. It doesn't have all the antibiotics, the nitrates, none of that crap that is going to be filled with estrogens. So grass-fed beef, eggs. All right. Typically you hear people talking about the egg yolks. You need the egg whites, and toss the egg yolks. That's not what you need to do as a man over 40. You want those yolks. We're going to talk about the egg yolks in a minute. But make sure you're eating your eggs. White fish, different cuts of lean fish are really good as well. So turkey, there's a lot of different types of meats that you can be consuming. Just make sure that they're lean meats. All right, but those are some good sources of protein to really focus on. And let's move on from the protein. I don't want to go too crazy with that. A lot of people are pretty familiar with the protein. Chicken, that's the most popular. Chicken breast, okay? Chicken breast, not fried. Make sure it's grilled, broiled, boiled, something like that. You don't want to sit there and fry it in oil. So chicken breast, turkey breast, lean beef, eggs, all of those are great sources. Fish, again, great sources of lean protein. All right, next one, I'm going to go into the fats. Here's why we're going with fats. Fats are essential. There's several fats that are essential. Your body can't produce, so your body needs to get them externally. So here's the thing with fats. So back in the day, people thought, you know what, I've got too much fat, I need to go on a no-fat diet. That's not how it works. Fats are actually hugely responsible for testosterone production. So if you remember me talking about egg yolks, the egg yolks are huge for boosting testosterone levels. As an older man, testosterone levels have dropped, they've plummeted. Typically that starts in your 30s, early 30s, all right? And it just carries over. So you start getting less active, you start losing muscle, then testosterone levels drop, cortisol levels rise, estrogen levels rise because of all the processed foods most of us eat. And estrogen levels are high, that automatically means testosterone levels are low. If cortisol levels are high, testosterone levels are low. So there's a lot of things to really focus on when you get older that you never used to have to worry so much about when you were younger. But guys, we're older, man. We gotta do things different. We've gotta be smarter, a little bit more strategic about what we do with our bodies, all right? It's about longevity. The older we get, the more we realize we've lived a lot of life. There's not a whole lot left. So we want to maximize and optimize what we do have left. All right, so that's where fats are going to be crucial. Fats are really important. Cellular repair as well, all right? The protection of your organs. There's a lot of benefits. Also helps support metabolism. So fat provides a ton of benefits. It's not just about hormone production, but that is the key one I want to focus on with you guys because that's what we're focused on with these programs. Ramping the testosterone levels up because testosterone levels being lower creates a lot of issues. It's not only physical issues that I'm concerned with, it's the mental issues, a lot of depression, anxiety. A lot of that has been linked to low testosterone levels. So one of my goals when I write these programs for you guys is not just the physical transformation, but the mental transformation, the emotional transformation, because I've been there before too. Like when I was getting ready to be 40 years old, that's when I went into a lot of my, I hate to say depression, but you start realizing, man, I don't look the way I used to look. I don't feel very good anymore. And I was still working out. I was doing a lot of things most men my age weren't. But things back then needed to be changed and altered, and I didn't realize that because I wasn't quite yet 40. I had trained a lot of men in their 40s, but once you experience it yourself, it's a little bit different, man. You realize you don't feel the way you should feel, the way you used to feel. And that's when I realized by adding some of these other things that I'm telling you about, boosting the good, healthy fats, the essential fats, and the next macronutrient, that's going to be key. But when you do these things, you increase your testosterone levels. You increase your testosterone levels, then guess what? You start feeling good again. You start building muscle again. Some of that fat starts falling off and melting off your body. A lot of great things happen just by increasing testosterone. So that's why I'm focused on testosterone when I'm talking about the fats. Although there's a ton of other benefits to it, and it's good for reducing inflammation within the body. Tons of benefits, but we're focused on testosterone boosting benefits. So some of the best ones to do that: nuts, Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, walnuts, almonds. Those are some really good fat sources, all right? And then now we're getting into the egg yolks again, because the egg yolks are really good. It's got the type of saturated fats that you want to help boost those testosterone levels. Also, when I said grass-fed beef is a good source of lean protein, it's also a good source of fats to help boost testosterone levels. So grass-fed beef, fish, salmon. Salmon has really good fats in it. Fish oil, all right? Some good fish, some good oils. Other oils besides fish oil that are going to be really good and have really good quality essential fats: olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the better ones. Again, fish oil, and another really good one is coconut oil. Coconut oil is made up a little bit different. It is a medium chain triglyceride. Basically what that means, it's a faster assimilating, faster digesting fat. So it's a good source of quick energy, quick burst energy. So coconut is really high in MCT oil. So that's another really good oil to add. But oils, some of the foods that we touched on, avocados is another good food. Those have really good fat sources. They're going to help you boost those testosterone levels. All right, fats. That's fats for you. And again, there's so much more that I can get into, but at the end of the day, I don't want to overcomplicate this. I don't want it to be so long that you just turn it off and don't really pay attention, all right? I'm just trying to give you some of the quick rundown to let you know that there was a lot of thought, a lot of planning that went into these programs, all right, that are involved with the workouts you're going to be doing, with the cardio you're going to be doing, the optimal sleep you're going to be doing. This nutrition is key to being optimal, to getting rapid results, optimal results, and maximizing your transformation. So nutrition is very important. It's very vital. All right, here's the next one. And the one I really, really can't wait to discuss, it's carbohydrates. All right, let's just, for short, we'll just call it carbs. Carbs are demonized across the world right now. And it comes and it goes. I've been in this industry over 30 years. I've been training clients. This is my 27th year, I guess, of training others. And Atkins diet over 20 years ago popularized ketogenic diets. Ketogenic diets basically eliminate carbohydrates. That's the last thing you need to do as an older man, okay? Here's the thing. Severely obese people in their 20s, maybe early 30s, and when I would get somebody that was morbidly obese and they were a little bit younger, then I would put them on keto diets because that's where most of the benefits come from. However, most men, even if you're obese but you're 45, 50, then you're gonna need some carbohydrates. Regardless of what the world is telling you, you're gonna need carbohydrates, all right? They are vital for your hormone productions. And we'll go into some of these other benefits. But here's the thing with carbs, because not all carbs are equal. That's the thing that you'll notice about this macronutrient. We went into the protein. Proteins are great. We went into fats. We touched on the essential fats. Those are the ones you really want, not the trans fats. But like I said, I didn't want to go too complicated with those. But carbohydrates, here's the thing with carbs. 3 different ones. Okay, you got complex carbs, or you've seen them called starchy carbs, fiber, so that's a fibrous carb, and then sugars. Now you can see why people are saying carbs suck, carbs are bad for you, carbs are evil. They're focused on this one, all right? Sugars. All of these are carbs. You got your complex, and sugars are a simple carb, but they're lumping them all together. Yeah, man, I don't want you eating simple carbs. I don't want you eating table sugar, drinking a bunch of fruit juice, maltodextrin, dextrose. Those are all really high glycemic carbohydrates that we'll touch on here in a minute. But of course, those are bad. Breads, pastries, white breads, all of these things, processed carbohydrates, those are bad for you, and I stress, leave them out, all right? So, but that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on getting complex carbs and fibrous carbs. Carbohydrates are your body's primary fuel source. You can get fuel from fats. That's where the keto guys or women are telling you, you don't need carbohydrates, get energy from fats. Our bodies don't prefer fats. Yeah, you can go through your keto flu, get your no carb headaches, do all of these things and get your body into ketosis and then alter your body so that it can function on fats, but then you're missing out on all of the other benefits that come with the carbohydrates, because there are a lot of benefits to eating carbohydrates, especially complex carbs. Fiber is one of those things that your body cannot break down fiber. Here's the thing. Fiber, broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, green leafy veggies. All of those things are fibrous carbs. You'll notice in my programs, you can eat fiber with every meal. Fiber every day, fiber with every meal. Those are great carbs, full of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals. There's a ton of benefits to eating fiber. Again, your body cannot digest fiber, so it goes to your digestive tract intact, which cleans out your digestive tract as well. So that's another one of the major benefits. The nature's broom, I don't know if you've heard that before, but it's considered nature's broomstick, cleaning out your digestive system, all right? So fiber is something that you can also get in fruits. So all veggies and then fruits, you're gonna get some good options within all my programs. So you'll notice fiber is something that you can have with every meal. Here's where things get tricky with the nutrition. Complex carbs. Okay, you know we're eliminating sugars, and fiber is good. Of all three macronutrients, carbs also do the best job of activating your metabolism stimulating hormones. So people don't tell you that when you're hearing all the bad stuff about carbohydrates. Carbs are bad, carbs are evil, carbs raise your blood glucose levels, spike your insulin levels, which is a fat storage hormone. That's sugars, okay? Complex carbs do that to an extent. So here's the thing with my programs. My programs are going to utilize carb cycling. If you haven't seen it yet, you haven't looked into my programs, you're going to notice carb cycling in there quite a bit. I recommend carbohydrate cycling because as older men, your body doesn't need as much energy. Regardless of the source, you're older, you're less active. Even though you're working very hard, very intense, your body doesn't need as much energy as it did when you were younger. So for that reason, even though I say you want complex carbohydrates, you don't need them all the time. If you're gonna be sedentary, you're gonna be sitting around, you're gonna be at a desk job, you're gonna be hanging out with grandkids, depending on what you're doing, you may not necessarily need extra energy. The way I design my programs is you're gonna have a high carb refeed day, you're gonna have moderate carb days around your workout to help fuel your workout and then also help recover from the workout afterwards. And there's several days you have zero carbs. For me, zero carbs and in my programs, I don't want you having straight up zero, okay? My zero carbs mean no sugars, no complex starchy carbs. Once again, you can always have fibrous carbs. So when I say zero carbs in my programs, that doesn't mean, well, crap, I can't have veggies. I can't have my broccoli. I can't have my asparagus. Can't have green beans. That's not what I mean. You can have those with every meal. That means you are having no sugars and you are having no complex carbs. That's what my zero carbs mean, okay? But here's some of the other benefits. All right, complex carbs, fiber, and then sugars. Those are the three. But carbs replenish glycogen. Let me spell this right. All right, hold on. Glycogen. All right, two types of glycogen, muscle glycogen and liver glycogen. Liver glycogen can be replenished through fructose, which is a different type of fruit. You can eat a little bit of fruits and replenish your liver glycogen. However, the main reason I make sure you're getting enough complex carbs is to replenish muscle glycogen. All right, so that's one of the benefits. Muscle glycogen, which also will help give you muscle fullness. Here's the thing, when you're losing weight, and you'll notice this with a lot of ketogenic guys. If you're following keto, and I know this because like I said, I've trained guys that wanted to do keto, so we ran them through keto. Me, the first time keto was popular was when Atkins came around over 20 years ago. I actually used keto about 3 years and felt like crap, looked like crap 90% of the time. Because here's what happens. Your muscles, when you build muscles, they're naturally full. They look big, they look tight. When you're on keto, guess what? They're soft. Even though you don't have a whole lot of fat on your body, if you're the way I am, I like to stay leaner, I didn't feel big. I felt soft. My muscles weren't hard, okay? And when you're working out, you don't get a pump at all because that pump comes from the muscle glycogen. Okay, and that muscle glycogen is going to provide a ton of energy as well to fuel through these intense workouts you're gonna be doing. So a lot of overall benefits. Another thing I want to touch on is it will help lower cortisol. So carbs can lower cortisol. Here's the other benefit to lower cortisol levels. Cortisol is typically a stress hormone, okay? But when your cortisol levels are high, testosterone levels are actually going to be lower. So that's the added benefit, raising and elevating those testosterone levels by getting those cortisol levels down. All right, so that's going to make a big difference. So hopefully throughout this video, you've realized that all three macronutrients are crucial to your success. You want, like I said, these lean proteins, you want these essential fats that we discussed, and the complex carbs as well as the fibrous carbs. So it's not just about the fiber. Fiber, huge benefits. I didn't touch on the satiating effect with fiber, but that's another thing. I did talk about your body not being able to digest the fiber. Well, it's also very satiating. So when you eat more fiber, you feel full. You're not craving a lot of crappy foods all of the time. So that's why you always hear fiber as a great carbohydrate, but then you hear everyone else talking about all carbs being horrible. So hopefully I gave you enough information so you can make up your own mind and realize the great benefits that come with adding some of those starchy carbs, all right, the complex carbs. But again, I've got a few other videos that are going to break down how often you should be having those carbs, because carbohydrates, high energy, it's one of those things. Now that we're older men, you want to consume for these benefits I'm giving you, but you don't want to consume too much. You don't want to overconsume carbs. Same with all macros. You don't want to overconsume anything. Anytime you're overconsuming macros, there's a tendency to get out of the caloric deficit and into the caloric surplus, or even calorie maintenance, which isn't what you want. If your goal is to lose fat and you're maintaining a status quo, your calorie maintenance, then you're not ever going to lose anything, because you're providing your body with enough energy to offset all of the things you are doing. So at the end of the day, you do want to make sure you are still in a caloric deficit. And next video, we will be touching on how to add the macros to your program. So hopefully you got a lot of help out of this video, and we'll speak soon, man. God bless.